SpringFest is heating up at Lowe's. And for a limited time, we have the extra big deals you need to impress guests. Get your outdoor space ready and save $50 on a select Cobalt 24-volt blower kit, now $79. Plus, save $80 on a Charbroil Performance 4-burner grill, now $199. It's springtime, and our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/13. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Eugene, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
6 minutes past the hour, 6 minutes past the hour with Walter M. Sterling and the legendary Dave Scott, a known Canadian. He ran across the border to Canada to escape from the horrors of Donald Trump. Isn't that right, Dave Scott?
Absolutely not, unfortunately. You know, I'm trying to escape Mark Carney and the Canadian politics right now.
Every time you say Mark Carney, I think of a carnival barker. I think of some sort of circus clown. But as time goes on, it appears to be true.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's about what Canadian politics is right now, is a circus. So that's why I stick to monsters and legends, so that way I don't have to deal with it.
Dave Scott does a radio show in Canada called Spaced Out Radio. He's got a great website called Spaced Out Radio. And every show he's ever done is on YouTube, Spaced Out Radio on YouTube. He is not a wacky host. He is a journalist who studies the phenomena, looks at the facts, determines what makes sense and what doesn't. He isn't dealing in radio facts. He's actually dealing in facts on UFOs, metaphysics, portals, and Bigfoot. Now, I sent you a video of an amazing analysis of one of the movies of showing Bigfoot. And you guys all have code names for it. Well, that's the Big Joe movie, and I don't know what it is. But it's a movie that showed near a campsite Sasquatch walking around, big one, little one, and kid. And then it was analyzed using AI. And son of a gun, these were not humans in monkey suits.
No, I mean, I have personally had interaction with Sasquatch a number of times. I've seen 3 of them in my life, 2 in 2013 and 1 in 2022. And what a lot of your audience doesn't know, because we're kind of new here, is that in my spare time on the weekends, I'm actually, you know, once the snow is fully melted in the mountains around here, I actually have a couple of locations where I actually go research Sasquatch. In those areas, in the one area, I have found footprints that have been anywhere as small as 9 inches to as big as 19 inches long. And in my other area that I go to, which is known as Canada's largest unsolved mass murder, which happened in 1965 when a bomb on an old DC-6 charter plane going from Vancouver up north blew up in the sky around my town, about 25 miles into the forest. I have been investigating that area since 2018, and from the first time that we were there in 2018, we actually had Sasquatch interaction. And it is pretty mind-numbing, Walter, when you are in the middle of the forest. There's nobody around. So I don't live in a place like New York where you have 11 million people. I live in a town that's about 2,000 people. And not everybody in my town knows where this location is. And when you go there and you start hearing and seeing things moving through the woods, it is downright freaky.
Were you scared?
Absolutely, I was. You know, I mean, we have had interactions with them. And last year, we actually started a weekly investigation there at this location. And I will tell you that the things that happened there, from being hearing noises to big objects, I don't know what they were, moving through the trees. We have had UFO interaction there. We've had, due to the crash site, paranormal action there. We have even had what we call skinwalkers and wendigos. One of those 2 around last year. This is where I got really scared, Walter, was when last year when we were there, we started hearing a woman's voice in the forest, very monotone. And it wasn't loud enough for our microphones to pick up, and we could just barely hear it with our ears. And she was, very monotone voice was, "Help me. I'm over here. Can you come help me? And then a little bit later on, she said, help me. I love you. Please come help me. And immediately it changed to a man's voice. Help me. I'm over here. Can you help me? Now, I looked at my buddy Tim at that time, who I was investigating with. I said, Tim, if we go over there, we're not coming back. We will not be coming back. We are not going over there to investigate to see if that was a person. And the reason why we knew it wasn't a person, Walter, was because there's one way in and one way out of this location. They would have had to have passed us. And there were no other vehicles. There was nothing there. And I looked at Tim and I said, if we go there, we're going to become a statistic. Nobody is ever going to find us.
And what did you do? How did you get out of there?
Well, we ended up staying around for a little bit. We heard the voice move. Excuse me, I apologize.
That's all
right. We heard the voice move, and then we hopped in my vehicle. We kind of looked at each other and said, you know what? It's time to go. And I will be honest with you, normally what happens when we go into the forest, into that location, there are some big animals there. We have grizzly bears, we have black bears, we have wolf packs, we have 1,500-pound moose, we have mountain lions in that area, wild horses. There's some big animals there. And normally when we go in armed, because in case we run into one of these creatures, you know, it's safety first. We've never ran into them, knock on wood. But on this occasion, we actually did not unpack and disarm our weaponry, because in case something did happen, we wanted to make sure we were ready. That's how scared we were.
I'm sure. Now, you also have been abducted. You're an abductee, UFO abduction, and you're not even sure how many times that has happened. You have seen Bigfoot, and I want the Midnight Misfits to have the opportunity to talk with you. Here's the phone number. You can talk to Dave Scott, especially if you've also had an experience of being abducted. One of the hardest things is to admit to being abducted, to share this experience, and have somebody take you seriously. Dave Scott takes you seriously. Here's the phone number. It's 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Were you abducted? You're anonymous. This is an important experience. This isn't something you made up. Too many times when we have an extraordinary thing happen to us, the response is, oh, you're making that up. It's such an odd response rather than, well, tell me about it. How do you know this happened? And Dave Scott, you were abducted. You're an abductee. How do you know this happened?
Well, the first time it happened after I had an experience with an alien, a lady who has had a lot of alien encounters. Her name is Samantha Mowat, and she is highly intuitive. And 25 minutes after I met her and I walked into a forest in Mission, British Columbia, and we actually ended up seeing two alien beings. I saw one. She saw both of them about 200 feet away from us at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We knew it wasn't children because school was still and school didn't get out until about 2:35. So we ended up having that. And when we came out of the forest, she says to me, have you ever been abducted before? And I said, no. She goes, well, after this encounter, it's likely going to happen. And then on September 30th of 2014, I went to bed like I normally do, but I was woken up. And I was woken up by the feeling of little children's fingers running through my hair. I realized that I was not in my bed, that I was on like a warm steel-type table. And my face, like if you've ever gone for a massage, you're lying on your stomach, the masseuse will put your head, lead it onto like this donut-shaped pillow. And I picked my head up, I looked to my right, and I realized that it was all dark over there, but on my left, I could see light coming from my left side. So I turned my head over to the left, and that's where I saw three maybe 4 feet tall alien beings. They were wearing silverish black bodysuits. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I have been taken. And I put my head back down, and the one came up above my left shoulder, right by my head, and he started fiddling with my hair again. And that's when I felt like a razor blade cut in the back of my head. And I remember kind of grinding my teeth with this. And I thought, okay, whatever they're doing, it's going to be, Samantha says it's going to be quick. It's not supposed to hurt, but I felt that. And then I heard this saw type of sound. And then I felt the cut in the back of my head. And that one started to hurt a little bit. And I remember starting to scream and yell. And all of a sudden I heard Samantha's voice in my head saying, don't worry, Dave, it doesn't hurt. And immediately after that, it actually started to tickle. And it felt like they jammed something into my skull. And to this day, I don't know what it is, but I could tell you that every time I tell this story, that spot on my head where they did this, it really, really starts to pulsate. And not a vibration, but like a pulsation in the back of my head. I can feel it right now as I tell you that story. And I woke up a few minutes later. I was lying on top of my blankets. My face was buried in my pillow, and my head was throbbing. I do not drink, Walter, and it felt like I had the worst hangover I have ever had, the way my head was pulsating. It was like the worst migraine in the world, except your eyes weren't hurting. And that's when I knew that something real had happened.
Did you ever have an X-ray? Did you ever have an MRI to see what might have been put in there?
I'll be honest with you. I'm scared to.
Why?
I'm scared to because I all abductees go through this little bit of fear that if there is something there, it's going to open up more of the reality of what I already know happened. And then there is the faux pas of having the doctor laugh at you when they say, "What happened to you?" I could give you another example of something that happened to me, Walter.
Yes.
One day. I was doing this, what we call channeling experience for my friend with Samantha. It's like remote viewing where you can actually, go anywhere in the world, anywhere in space. And she's like, I want you to channel where my ET beings are from. Excuse me. So I ended up sitting on a chair and I was relaxing and I started getting these visions of flying through space. And I'm describing this to Samantha when all of a sudden I came to this beautiful blue world and I went through the clouds and I'm sitting there in the sky and I'm looking at this beautiful aquamarine type of building that must have stood about 5 miles up in the sky. And every corner was coated with gold. I could not see any beings or anything like that, just this building. And I was describing this to Samantha, and she's like, that's what I have been shown. And all of a sudden, I got pulled right out of it. And in Star Trek or Star Wars, when they go into warp speed, all of a sudden, all the stars form into this white tunnel, and they start whipping through there really, really fast at light speed.
Yes, when they go into hyperdrive, they go into...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I went through that hole, and my body started to tighten up. It was like I was experiencing these G-forces from going through this, coming back into my body. And when I got back, I kind of slammed forward, slammed back in the chair, and I started coughing really, really bad, to the point where 2 days later, I ended up going to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack. My chest was killing me. I didn't know what was going on. I went to my doctor. My doctor happened to be in the ER room working the ER that day. And I said to my doctor, Dr. Welsh, he goes, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on? I said, I don't know if I'm having a heart attack. I don't know, but my chest is killing me. And they take some x-rays of my chest, and he comes back after reading the x-rays. He goes, what happened to you? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, your chest inside is all bruised.
Whoa, wait, there's a lot of detail here that I need to hear, and we're going to hear about that in just seconds. I'm Walter Sterling with Dave Scott at 800-848-9222. That's your number. Red Apple Audio Networks, the other side of midnight.
Roger Stone here. Every day you wait, your money loses value, but gold and silver don't follow those same rules. American Sovereign Bullion gives you access to a nationwide wholesaler network, helping you secure aggressive pricing on real physical metals. Call 844-272-2428 now to get your free gold and silver guide to learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver, delivered right to your door or with a gold IRA. Visit asbgold.com. That's asbgold.com for your free gold and silver guide today.